They say looks can be deceiving. At first glance, I thought you were not much to look at. All icing, no cake, all steam, not much brew. But the night air sings of fulfilling ancient dreams. The moon whispers of tenderness for the smallest of them, for the unheard, the unseen. And as the sun breaks through our heroes' memories, your blinding smile hits my heart, like the warrior's blade, like Lapu-Lapu's spear. But the far seas beckon you. The memories on these walls try to soothe the pain of parting. I seek for your warmth, but only these sheets comfort me. My tears are salt water flowing to bridge the seas and islands that divide us. The stars listen to my sighs as I look for you in the skies. And now you're here. Our love blazes like the fire of our heroes' revolution. Our hearts entwined is such sweet victory, incomparable, like the journey of our people, like the richness of our culture.
Malip Malipayong pagsaulog sa katluan ug tulo ka tuig nga kasumaran sa pagsaulog sa kagawasan sa prensa sa Sugbo. In celebration of the Cebu Press Freedom Week 2025, PAMGRAS the Cebu Heritage Hotel in partnership with the Cebu Press Freedom Week Incorporated, the Tres de Abril Foundation, and the Yandi Heritage Center present to you this exciting event this afternoon entitled Evolving Media Platforms and Their Impact on Social Change. Maayong hapon sa tanan. Maayong hapon to those on-site. Pwede na ito i-show atong on-site audience nga wala pa'y nang lingkod sa atubangan kay tuwa sa luyo tanan. So according to them, ang mga anhagyog kuno manglingkod sa luyo, no? Ang kanang mga audience dili mo lingkod sa atubangan. So we thank those who came in very early. We said that we will start at 2:30 in the afternoon, and they came here at 1 p.m. Congratulations to the students from the San Carlos School of Cebu and to the students of the University of the Philippines, Cebu. Kisa pa ito uban nga school nga sa uni abot. San Carlos, na-change na inyong name, no? It's San Carlos School of Cebu, which is formerly University of San Carlos Basic Education Department. And then you have students also from the University of the Philippines, Cebu Communication, from the publication Lanog and Tugani. So, daghang salamat for joining us on site this afternoon. So, we are also celebrating this month, aside from the Press Freedom Week, which is from September 20 to 27 this year. We are also celebrating this month the National Teachers Month. So, we honor our teachers. We say, we had a an event the other week about I love my teacher. Yes, we love our teachers because without our teachers, society would not progress. We are what we are today partly or mostly because of our teachers. And most of our resource persons here at Pamgrass are usually teachers. I'm not sure. I don't know if teachers di sila tanan. Teachers at ka. Dili. Ikaw right, teacher. Oh, teacher nga kusog kay manghanggong. So of course we learn what we know today. So I am hosting in front of you today because of the training we had from school and also from our teachers. Asa naman si Madam? wala pa ma-online. So the theme for the Teachers Month is empowering educators in strengthening resilience and building sustainability. And in our conversations the other week with the president of the Regional Federation of Teachers Association, he also mentioned to us that there are so many problems in the educational system, and also the teachers still experience problems even if the highest budgetary allocation right now is already for education. So, because you are all student journalists in front of me, maybe you would be researching and writing about that. So, we are celebrating this in the celebration of the Cebu Press Freedom Week. You have seen at the post, the Pamgrass, that we honor the courageous voices who stand unwavering for truth and free expression. And celebrating press freedom is more than just giving tribute, but the voice be protected. And the efforts to uphold the right to speak, to be so we would also like you to know that, of course, our topic right now is how did the platforms of the press or journalism or the media platforms evolve. But do we recall when was the first that we knew that the press is very powerful? So in the Philippines, we know that it's also posted at Pamgrass page yesterday, that in the 1896 revolution, the 1896 Philippine Revolution, the expansion of the Katipunan. Sagay ng Katipunan? It's the revolutionary organization fighting for freedom, for independence from Spain. So it would not have been possible to expand the Katipunan without the revolutionary propagandist. Dated January 1, 1896, the Kalayaan or the publication of the KKK, Kagalang-galangan, Kataas-taasang Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. So, it was dated January 1, 1896, New Year's Day, no? But it was released in March of 1896. And according to a Katipunero, Dr. Valenzuela, it only had 2,000 copies with 8 pages each. But then, before the release of the publication, Kalayaan, Katipunan only had 300 members in January of 1896. But after Kalayaan was published and circulated, the membership of the Katipunan expanded to 30,000 members, from 300 to 30,000. So that's a whopping 9,900% increase in membership in just 5 months. So when it was already discovered, so it was discovered by the Spaniards 5 months after, and in August of 1896. So that's from March to August, and the Katipunan already had 30,000 members after the Kalayaan was circulated. So we would see that the press, starting with the print, is at that time it's a watchdog. It's a powerful force in surmounting the society's challenges, and very instrumental in the freedom, in the fight for freedom, for independence from a colonial rule. So, naka-reflect na mo ana nga it's very important. So right now, dili na print. Unsa naman ang kung mag-viral ka? So, we would like to recognize again our partners, Cebu Press Freedom Week Incorporated, Trust the Abril Foundation, the Yandi Heritage Center, and Palmgrass Galeria Independencia is a proud member of the Central Visayas Association of Museums. Before I would recognize the participants who registered online, we would like to invite you to our upcoming events on October 4. We will have a film showing of Cebuano films, Mama, Mayumi, and Bangaw. These are films on the LGBTQ and also, on the LGBTQ films by Sam Costanilla. And he really offered that he would want these films to be shown at Palmgrass. And we also have an upcoming Bansay Balak. It's a Cebu Island Poetry Workshop and Contest. The deadline for the submission of your poems and also your application, like your registration for your name, school, and it's on September 25 or 30 or September 30. Napay chance sa September 30, but we will announce the qualified on-site participants on October 1, and the event would be on October 11. We would also be tracing our healing heritage at the Visayas with the event Hilo og Tambal, Poisons and Medicine on October 18, 2025. And as we prepare to celebrate the Kalag-Kalag on October 30, we will discuss Dili Ingon Nato, Visaya, and then we will be discussing actually the enchanted tree, a very powerful tree, the Dakit Balite, and what it is in our history and our heritage, what is it about, what did the archival documents say about it, and we will have a Visayan mythical creatures cosplay contest on the night of October 30. So, muna siya. So now we would like to recognize our participants who registered online. We have someone from PhilNets. Saan ni PhilNets? And then from the PUP, Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Daghang salamat for joining us. And also, share na nato atong live karon. Please, so we share to our Facebook events so that those who registered, who said going, who are about more than 150 said going to this event. And we also have someone from Reeswoods Colleges, Liloan, Cebu Campus, from the Science and Technology Education Center, Senior High School. We have someone from the Pitos National High School. We have from Innate, and from the National College of Science and Technology, from what's that in University of Mindanao, professional schools, and yes, so now I would like to introduce to you our panelists this afternoon. So, are you excited? Excited na mo? Actually, someone was telling me, wow, how were you able to invite those very amazing speakers for resource persons for your discussion on Monday? So daghang salamat to our partners, especially to the Cebu Press Freedom Week Incorporated. So we have actually Michelle So coordinating about this event today. So daghang salamat to administrator of Queen City Cebu page. It has about more than 5,000 followers. Limuel Hobiliar, daghang salamat for joining us online. And also to Ferdy Pagao, the supervisor of Taguig City and Pateros. DepEd Taguig City and Pateros, tumutunghay mula sa sangay ng mga paaralan ng lungsod ng Taguig at bayan ng Pateros. APCIC, Taguig Heritage Society, UNESCO, APNIEB, Philippines, NCR South. So, daghan salamat to our classmates. They are not yet online today. I mean, they said they are joining to my classmates. So I would like to introduce to you this afternoon one of our resource persons and panelists. So I would like to introduce first. She is a graduate. Actually, she did not give me anything how to introduce her. She just told me, you just tell them. She is my classmate. She may not be the smartest. She may not be the smartest, but she is definitely the prettiest. And then I said, what will my other classmates say? so, so our one of our panelists this afternoon is a graduate of Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication at University of the Philippines, Cebu. Yeah, ang mga taga-UP na backpack na. So, and then she was the editor-in-chief of the Cebu Daily News, and she was also the bureau chief of the Visayas Bureau of the Philippine Daily Inquirer. So everyone, please help me welcome the gorgeous, the most beautiful Connie Fernandez Brujan, my classmate.
Hello, good afternoon, especially to those from UP. Hi.
Pabor.
So why paglipod-lipod?
And she was also a former teacher at the UP Cebu Mas Acom. So she taught, sa tayo magtudlo kon? She taught feature writing, magazine production,
and I forgot the other one.
So magpasalamat mo nga, pasalamat mo kung ma-teacher ninyo siya again, but then mag-ampo sad mo because 5 is coming. 5 might be coming. So dahil salamat to Connie for being with us on site this afternoon. Our next resource person and panelist is also the current editor-in-chief of Sunstar Cebu. Please help me welcome Mildred Galarpe.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, we are so happy to have Mildred with us this afternoon with the busy schedules as editor of this digital and print and hybrid publication now, the Sunstar Cebu. So of course, Sunstar Cebu, what is its tagline gani? All you need to know. All you need to know. And sa Cebu Daily News kay, sa ganitong tagline sa Cebu Daily News? Sa PDI, Balanced News? Fearless Views. And pakita si Connie B. So kini, these are the powerful women journalists of Cebu. And then the Philippine Daily Inquirer, so Connie was part of, she just retired.
I retired.
So Philippine Daily Inquirer's tagline is Balanced News, Fearless Views. And of course, Sunstar Cebu is all you need to know. And of course, the other newspaper, the other newspaper, the Freeman, which is the oldest publication in Cebu, which is still existing until today. The Freeman is, I forgot the tagline. I knew it before. So daghang salamat to Connie and Mildred for being here. So now we would like you to know also, we would also like you to know that we have this book here at Palmgrass, the Cebu Heritage Hotel, A Short History. We have published this. I also edited this. And A Short History of Cebu from 1500s to 1890s and the Anti-Spanish Revolution in Cebu. And it traces the history of Cebu from the 1500s, yes, to 1898. And it is mentioned here when, okay ra audio? Okay ra? So, naay part here that mentions about the history of journalism, like only during the 1890s. So, Connie actually was able to teach about the history of the Philippine press. So, pero wala, a long time ago. So here in this, one of the entries here is that the first recorded printing press in Cebu which was also the first outside of Luzon, was the Imprenta de Escondrillas y Compañía. It started operations in 1873 and was founded by Domingo de Escondrillas. And besides being a printer, The founder was also a writer and publisher, and the printing press was managed by Philemon Roa but operated only for 3 years. And the second printing press was the popular El Bulletin de Cebu. So the third printing press also, the third printing press started, the third printing press started operations. Okay ra, madunggan ra ko ninyo. So the third printing press started operations in 1891 and was owned by the Seminario Colegio de San Carlos. So you would find out about our discussions about the history of the El Bulletin de Cebu and the newspapers in the Spanish period until the American period. Last year, we had a discussion with Max Limpag on that with the title Tinta. So the publication by Seminario Colegio de San Carlos produced many religious literature like Tulumanon sa mga seladores o seladoras sa Corazon de Jesus o Apostolado Oracion, published in 1893, Novena, and others. So this is the short entry regarding the printing press in Cebu. In this book, a short history of Cebu. Maybe there would be other publications that would be written, maybe by some journalists in Cebu, regarding the history of the Cebu Press. So, Limuel is saying, klaro ra kuno ang audio. Rito Talod from Eres Elementary School, watching from Taguig City. Jenny is watching from DepEd Taguig City and Pateros. Zarina is watching from Artemio Natividad Elementary School of Taguig City and Pateros. And also, Junli is watching from Capitan Eddie Reyes, Taguig City and Pateros. Alimar is watching from Jose Cardones Integrated School, Taguig City and Pateros. So daghang salamat to the teachers in Luzon who are also interested in learning about the evolution of the media platforms. So now I would like to introduce to you back. I would like to call our my classmate first. So later we would be discussing about. So of course we know about the evolving media platforms. We would be discussing about the impact of media to society, and we would also like later to ask. I did not send this question ahead, but when do we say that the press is really free? And when did media have really an impact in our history? So anyway, later na siya. So now I would like to ask Connie regarding her experience with Inquirer Visayas. So it was a long time. For a long time, Philippine Daily Inquirer is in really like only print. So when it was, what was your experience? How would you describe the culture and values of print journalism back then?
I don't think there's much of a difference between the culture of and values of print journalism when I started in 1992 as to now, and I think Mildred will agree with me, like the values, the principles, the things that we need to do to be able to cover still exists as it existed even way before I became a journalist in 1992. So it still is prevailing right now. So nothing really much has changed. Except even if you say na, I'm just putting this on social media. I don't really have to do this because anyway, this is just for Facebook. No, values on accuracy, accountability, relevance, timeliness, and all those values still existed until now, and even siguro way before, even during the time of the 1800s of the Katipunan, they were still aspire about accuracy, about things that we learn in school, things that that makes you become a good journalist. Do you agree with that?
Yes, so I would like to ask, pwede na eh? So I would like to follow up. I would like to follow up. So I would like to follow up regarding the tagline because you are with the you were with the Philippine Daily Inquirer. How were you able? So it's a very important tagline, balanced news, fearless views. How were you able to achieve that?
Balance means be able to come up, when you do a story, and then you need to get the other side. And then when you present your story, the other side should not be way below the story, but you have to put it like second, third paragraph to make it balance. Balance does not actually mean that, anyway, I have his side of the story, but the side is on page 2, jump page, di ba? That's kind of unfair. So when you even in the writing of the story, you have to, there should already be, the balance, right, it's already there. Not just getting someone else's side. So you have to put, I always tell my correspondents and my reporters that you always have to put the side of the person on top, beside the allegation, not way below. I think journalists, the students here would agree with that. And what is fearless views? When you become a journalist, there will always be threats. Either from your source or from the people who you inadvertently attack. Inadvertently because our job is not meant to attack individuals. It's just that our stories hurt people along the way. And we don't really, we are not in the business of hurting people. We are in the business of telling the truth. And sometimes truth hurts to other people, so they sometimes give you threats. And that threat should not scare you from revealing what is the truth, because that is your job.
Daghang salamat to Connie for telling and reminding the student journalists here that you should not fear the truth. You should not fear about telling the truth. So that is what being a journalist is all about. So do you mean you're ready to die for your story?
Well, no story is worth dying for, Christy. Because if you're going to die today, who is going to tell the truth tomorrow?
So now, Connie, we would like to ask regarding. So when we would be entertaining your questions, you could put your questions at our Facebook Live event. You could also give your questions during our open forum at the end of our conversations with Connie and Mildred. But you can still also give your questions at the comment section. We would be reading them as we go along. So when the newsroom started going digital, what was the transition like, and what were the challenges?
Print, Manggod, it's all about scoops. And it's not, we are not too eager to share our stories until it published the next day. Print is so competitive. Unlike radio and TV, because they have to broadcast their stories on that day. Print, I mean, Mildred and I goes a long way back. We used to work with the same paper in the 1990s, 1992. But I was an intern, she was my senior reporter. Yeah, we worked with Newstime before. You don't know Newstime because it folded up the next year when we entered. Anyway, what was I?
What were the challenges, in when the print
the problem with print is that we have to be published the next day, right? So we have to we are not too willing. It was not easy for us to share our stories online because it might get outscooped by the other publications. So that kind of thinking there has to be a shift in the mindset, that we need to identify which stories we can share online and which stories we can keep for the next day's publication. And it took a while for the correspondents to train that kind of thinking and to identify which stories we need to publish the next day. And then if we need to publish the stories today because it's a breaking story, what is the treatment of the stories when it gets printed the next day? So you have to substantiate it, you have to come up with analysis, you have to have a different angle because your audience now has already read the story. So you have to put more value on the story that will come up the next day.
So, okay ra. So dahil salamat to Connie. So, if you have questions for Connie, put it at the comment section and also later during the open forum. So now we go to Mildred. So Mildred is the editor-in-chief of Sunstar Cebu, and it is a regional paper. So we have Mildred now. So we would like to ask Mildred regarding Sunstar as a regional it has stayed strong even as a regional, even if it went digital. So we would like to ask Mildred as editor-in-chief, what guides you as editor-in-chief in leading the change from print to digital or print with digital?
Okay. I would just like to add on to what Queenie said earlier regarding the principles and values of journalism. And I think the students, you need to understand it, that whether you're online or offline, it's the same principle and values. What changed is the distribution and the platform. So the value of accuracy, the value of verification is very important as it was important in the 1800s. So it has never changed. Sometimes because of social media, some of our journalists now have a tendency to be the content creators. Let's not be who dili kita. That's not our identity. Our identity is to tell the truth. It is nothing to do with us. So going back to the question, I think the guiding principle for Sunstar, and I think most of the media houses, is service to the community. It's always, we exist because we have a public to serve. And digital for us is not just going, it's not about technology, but it's about making sure our stories reach the people when they need it more and where they are. Either they're on their laptops, on their mobile phones, or the newspaper. So now it's all about, nawa na to ang kanang, we view the news by appointment. We view the news every 5 p.m. No, we can view the news on demand. So if we fail to watch it at 6 p.m., 9 o'clock, I just can scroll back on my feed and read it. So that one, it's sometimes the news, especially digital, it's about speed. You know, we get kuan kita sa speed ba, dapat kita makauna. Sa amo ni Connie sa una, it's magskupay me. Yes, it's not kami makauna, but it's about, it's exclusive. I am the only one who got the story. But now, everybody who has this is a content creator. So, maskupan ni mo ang media. Why? The accident happened right in front of you. You post it online. The media houses will contact you. Can we use your video? So, sa among panahon, gisugo lang kag suka, pagawas ning pag-uli nimo reporter na ka. So, kaya nakachismis sa kadito. But now, everybody who has a phone becomes a content creator. So, na-change ang equilibrium with the content production. So, but it has always been an honor for Sunstar's legacy for credible local reporting while embracing new tools that allow us to listen faster, to tell the story with more visuals, and of course, interact directly with our readers.
Yes, thank you very much, Mildred. Daghang salamat once again to our online audience also already commenting here. And we have from the Division of Pasig Capitulio High School, Pasig City, Juliet Di Fiesta. Daghang salamat for watching. Noel Mineses from the 4th Bonifacio High School, and our teacher Madam Flor de Lis Abanto is already online. Madam, please stay tuned and give us a grade. We hope we don't get 5 in this production today. And then, we have, there is a question. Maybe Connie can answer this, or also Mildred. Pwede na to, before we go to the next question to Mildred. Because this is related to about, would you die for a story? And then Connie said, and then Limuel is saying, this is from the page Queen City Cebu, if no story is worth dying for, someone threaten a reporter to silence the story, to mute it. Yeah. Yes. So may we have Connie?
Okay.
Connie first, because si Connie ang nasulti adto, and then we will also ask Mildred. Makasod si Connie? Yes.
That's what we always tell our reporters at the end of the day, that no story is worth dying for. Because you have something to do the next day. You have to tell the story the next day. But when it comes to threat, it goes with the job. Like, I had my own share of threats. I had my own share of online bashing because of a story that I did. But threats just come and go. As long as there are just there are just a few things that you have to bear in mind. One, your story is accurate. You stand by your story. Your story is fair. You did. It has basis, based on documents, based on interviews, and there's nothing to be scared about as long as you're telling the truth.
So, dahil salamat to Connie. Of course, they would also be scared killing journalists, right? Or they are no longer scared killing journalists.
In the same way, there are people who are killing lawyers, but does that mean that lawyers should not be doing their jobs just because they get killed also? Or
Yes.
judges or policemen?
Yes. So now thank you very much to Connie. And so we have Mildred again. So before I would ask Mildred my next question for her, I would also like to ask her regarding that question about stories. Do you die for would you risk your life for a story?
No way. No, like Connie said, I mean, before, threats are more real than now. Although threats now is kind of different. Just like martial law before, it's so physical. You know, you close printing presses, you drag journalists to jails, but now it's so silent, but it's done online, but it's equally dangerous. For me, like Connie said, who will tell the story when you're dead? Right? And threat is there. If you feel that you're not comfortable with the threat, well, who will be comfortable over threat? Just have it documented. Tell your editor, have it recorded at the police station so that people know that somebody is threatening you, rather than just you cannot ignore threats at the same time.
So yes,
I'd like to add also.
So Connie would like to add one more, and I would ask another question to Mildred.
There are a lot of things we can do in the newsroom to protect our reporters.
Yes.
One is, for example, if the story is too hot, we usually do pool reporting so that the reporters will not be identified, but rather it would be either the Visayas Bureau or the Inquirer staff to protect the reporters. And second, if it gets too hot already for the reporter, we pull them out and put in another one. We don't kill the story. There's a lot of things that we can do in the newsroom to continue pushing on for truth-telling, at the same time protect your staff.
Thank you very much to Connie for clarifying that they don't let a story die. They don't kill the story, but they will find a way for the people to know about that story that is very important, and why even if threats are being made to the journalists. So now I go back to Mildred. So Sunstar has, as said, has gone digital. Even with it still has print, but it already it is still already going digital. So how does Sunstar use social media and online platforms to connect with the younger audience and mobile audience, and while keeping the journalism standards high?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, social media is a distribution platform for the news, for the media company. We use social media, two things: to gather news, because we listen to what the public is talking on social media. There's a lot of people who air out their concerns on social media, especially those who got scammed, especially those who complain about basic services. So that's where we pick up news articles, news issues also for us to pursue. At the same time, it's a distribution platform for us to reach to not just the younger audience, but also, not our current audience. So to reach more of them online. And at the same time, did you know that being a reporter today, Connie, being a reporter today is a lot difficult during our time?
No, during our time it was more difficult.
No, during our time, if you're print, you just write for print. Today, they're now using the multimedia reporter.
But the news gathering today is a lot easier for these kids. During our time,
Yes.
we have to call. We have to
Visit.
No, not yet. You have to call. You have to ask for an appointment to your news source. You have to dial that phone thingy that's attached to a wire. Not mobile phone. There's no mobile phone during our time. And then after that, you have to call. And then if they don't want you to be interviewed over the phone, then you go to their house or to wherever they are. And then you have to get your recorder. We don't have this phone where it has this gadget where it has a recorder, it's a camera. No, during our time, we have to have a recorder, we have our own camera, and we have notebooks. So we record, we notes, and then we take pictures using our that small
cameras.
thingy, small
Small
cameras. And then the camera,
Transcribe
no, we
after.
don't. And then after that, the camera, we have to put it in the dark room and to
Develop.
develop it. Unlike now, it's so easy. And then if your news source were abroad, were out of the country, then you have to wait for them to return. Now you can just message them on Facebook, message them on Viber. So everything is so accessible. And when you do research, we have to go to the different offices of the government to ask for documents, to go to the library to get some data for background information. Now, all you need to do is just go online.
Okay,
So easy
thank
for
you,
them.
Cod. So now I would go back to Mildred. So in your online, so you mentioned that it's regarding the online platforms that everyone who has a phone can already report. So I would like to ask, so what are the most the stories? What kinds of stories do the readership now like? Like what stories go viral?
Kaya bitang viral, no? Sige, nagpauso, ana. Kaya, being viral does not necessarily mean it's of value to the audience. It can be just a crazy video, na funny and everything. So, it's an algorithmic thing when you say it's viral, but kung unsa ang balita, kung unsa na platform, whether it's online or offline, it's the same thing for us. You'll be trapped. You'll be in a trap if you follow that thinking, I'll produce this because this is viral. That is not our job. That is not our goal as a journalist. Our job as journalists is to inform, to educate our audience. Well, maybe partly to entertain, but maybe 25%, not the other way around. So, let's stay as an information and an education rather than an entertainment. There's a lot of them there already. I tell you, dagan na kayong mga entertainers sa social media. There's a lot of people documenting themselves there from the day they wake up until matug sa gabi. Mag-video, nagbisbis sa ilang tanom, just to get for the reels. I mean, nothing is left already na for yourself. We're so open. There is such thing as digital security, and you need to sanitize things, whatever you're putting online, especially you young people. Please, ayaw in town o i-disclose tanan. You might regret it later because whatever is there online, even if you delete it, but somebody have captured it already, they can just republish it. So we have to be very careful what we put out online because you're leaving digital footprints out there.
Yeah, so another question for you, Mildred. You would like to know, so when the news breaks fast, how do you ensure that you can post quickly, but you make sure also that everything is accurate?
Sige. Mo gina siya atong awayan. Anyway, so nothing has changed kung unsa ang practice sa print. The verification, never should you publish a story that was never validated or verified. If you know that there's a fire, you can just put out alert, stay tuned for details. Pero ayaw in town pagbutag fire alert niya, na location niya, it was not verified. Kay appeal na ta sa misinformation nga cycle. So always mo gina siya verified. That set a content in public.
So, dahil salamat to Mildred. So now I go to Connie again. So, so we have Connie, Michael. We'll have Connie now. So we would like to ask Connie regarding the journalists with the disinformation spreading faster than real news. What can journalists do to keep public trust? For them to stay trusted.
Be accountable to your story. You have to be accountable. If you make a mistake, you own it up, you correct, you apologize, and then you correct. That's the difference between content creators and journalists, because in our case, when we make mistakes, human as we are, we apologize and then we correct our mistakes. Unlike there are some content creators, they would just cry during the Senate hearing and then said something that doesn't make sense. Aside from that, you have to make sure also, because apologizing a mistake is not an excuse to make another mistake. Because if you keep on making mistakes, then your credibility will also be affected. So as much as possible, be accurate, always verify any source of information before putting it out, and be fair. Always keep the news balanced, and if you cannot, in this day and age, there's no excuse anymore that you cannot get the other side, because there's a lot of ways to be able to get in touch with the affected parties. You can get in touch with their lawyers, they can get in touch with their corporate communication staff, spokesperson, what have you, relatives, and it's easier for you already to be able to contact them, unlike during our time in the 1990s and early 2000. What else? Basically, that's it.
Yes. So now I would like to ask regarding the investigative journalism. It's a very important part of journalism. It was one subject is really for investigative journalism for us, and then so why does it matter still? Why is it important today? And when news moves so quickly and on social media, and how should it be done?
Like what Mildred said, principles and news processes, data gathering remain the same. It's just the platform that's different now. Even if you go online, you can still do investigative reports. Investigative reports are important because you can put a story in a proper context with lots of in-depth, well-researched, well-balanced articles. And it's an advantage now compared to if you're just gonna put it in print, because a print, manggod, you have to you have to cut it in 3 parts or 4 parts to be able to, because there's space constraint when it comes to print. The advantage now with social media, you can put it online and there's no problem with space. And then the beauty now is that you can add videos and even kanang nice photos on your online on your website or your news website. It remains important. That's the reason why PCIJ continues to come up with their investigative reports. Rappler continues to come up with their investigative reports. These are online publications already, but they continue to do that because there is a need for it, especially in the wake of a lot of misinformation and fake news.
Yeah, so before I give my next questions for, my prepared questions for Connie and Mildred, I would like to have them both because there are already questions online. So there is a question from DepEd in Pasig City, and Juliet asking, sang-ayon po ba kayo na may mga nasa media na may kinikilingan na, lalo na sa politiko? So do you agree that there are media people who has a politician who sides with there are media people who side with a politician? So what can you say about this? Will we have Connie first or Mildred first? Mildred
first.
Oh.
Okay, I thought Connie first. Well, I've heard of media people being dragged or linked to politicians, just like what happened to the recent Diskaya. But personally, well, news is about verification, validation, accuracy. I cannot, I don't have personal knowledge of media people serving politicians. I've heard, but no personal evidence or proof to confirm that. But it's, it's not just the media. There are, I don't know, how do you call that? It's the ecosystem that it's either some people use your name, you may be, that's why during my time, every time there's a press con, I don't register. I don't put my name in the registration because there are also other enterprising media who use that registration sheet as a liquidation for whatever political agreements they have during press conferences. So that's what I do to protect myself from being used. So you may be innocent of, receiving or getting payola, but you're not also sure if somebody is using your name. Right now, it's so easy to use that.
Yes, so that's from Mildred. She cannot pinpoint if there are really like people in the media who are siding, who are being used by politicians. So what can you say about that, Connie?
Well, there might be, but in the newsroom, there are a lot of checks and balances that been put in place to ensure that the stories that come out will not be tainted with affiliation of politicians. That's why we have editors. And editors, I don't know about Sansar, but in our case, when I used to be with PDI, it goes to 3 layers of editing before it gets into publication. And with that, the editor's job is to spot if the story had been tainted by any political affiliation or if there's some kind of semblance that would tend to slant towards a preferred politician. So those are the mechanisms that have been put in place to prevent stories from coming out that would be favorable to certain groups or people.
Thank you very much, Connie. So there are so many layers of editing and making sure that the story which is citing a politician would be validated and also would be checked by the editor.
No, because in editing man, Chris, is that you can already see if the art, for example, I have killed some stories which I think that tends to be slanting towards that sounds so press releasey in favor of, let's say, a governor. So once it gets to me and I see this and it seemed to be, there's no reason for me to publish this because this is just a press release, this is just a PR in favor of one governor. So I kill the story immediately. I don't get it published.
Yes. So thank you, Connie. So this is now for Mildred. So we would like to know, how do you make sure that important investigative stories get published even if they don't go viral?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, no, that we write stories because we're writing this for our community. Clicks, yes, clicks help us stay sustainable, but our mission is bigger than Matrix, and that is to inform and to educate our public. And investigative pieces are one type of content that, you know, explains, let's say for example, the flood control projects. If you do a piece on flood control projects, you read it, if you're online, you just read it in one reading. So you can understand right away the impact and the context of the story. Rather than, you know, read it, sometimes you read the first part, you fail to get the copy the next day, so you fail to read it completely. And also, running stories, if you read the story like there's a development every day, you miss one day, you get lost what happened to the previous story. So investigative pieces are pretty matrabaho and really demands time and really demands manpower, because if there's just one person doing the investigative piece, for instead of 1 week, it might run to 2 weeks, because you have to do paper trail, you do interviews. So it's not just the everyday article you're writing. It's a more complete and a more thorough piece. So whether it will be, because di man kita kabalo whether that article, whether that investigative piece will be viral or not. Whether it will be viral or not, we will still write stories that we think the public must know.
Thank you, Mildred. There are already questions online also. So there is a question. There is a comment from Limuel from the Queen City, Cebu. Threats can differ in intensity. If, say, an organized crime group would start threatening a reporter offline, think mafia-style threat that's incremental in intensity. So the next question, I think. Connie and Mildred may be able to answer this. From Ferdy, supervisor of Arling Pandipunan in Taguig City, what other strategies must be employed to get our youngsters read the morning paper, though in school, especially in Araling Panlipunan, to start the day's lesson with balitaan? So first, Mildred.
Okay. Well, you know, I really believe the newspaper was never designed for the young people. We read the paper in the morning. This is what I experience every morning. It's not, even if I took up journalism, I was not, even during my time, I didn't hold the paper in the morning. It's my parents who are reading the paper. But I'm listening to the radio and watching TV. So even before, I think ang newspaper, we read it not first thing in the morning. It's like sometimes when they're done and we have nothing to do, we read the paper. So before, there are 3 sources of information. That's the newspaper, that's radio, and that's TV. Now, how many sources of information do we have? Daghan na kaayo, di ba? You have a lot of choices. But We always stick to the ones who are doing it regularly and right. There's a big difference of an opinion and a news. Tainted na ang opinion of somebody's perspective. So we go back to what is news, and from that information, we can come up with our own opinion. So, wala na siya akong tuon.
Thank you.
The newspaper was really never designed for the young people.
Thank you, Mildred. So now we go to Connie, and I also have this question for Connie. What advice would you give to the young journalists starting their careers in an era driven by clicks, trends, and algorithms? And then, of course, you may also answer that question. How do you get the young people to read the news?
I wonder, any one of you remember Letty Magsanok? She's she was the editor-in-chief of the Inquirer for the longest time, and then death took her from us. And I remember before, when she was deciding what story should go to page 1, there was one time that Chris Aquino, at her height and glory, was usually page 1. Chris Aquino. Who else? Lea Salonga. And for a time, Chris Aquino was asked to write a column for PDI, and PDI was bashed. The reason why she did this is to entice the younger generation to read the papers. Because the newspaper should be something that's engaging. I remember when I grew up, my dad reading the papers, he would get the first page, I would get the comics and the entertainment section. So content in itself, I think, as editors and people who plan what to put out the next day, the decision making should involved in the decision making should also be what stories that would be engaging to the young, because reading is a habit. It's just like, I don't like say breathing, but breathing is not a habit, but it's just like your Facebook, it's a habit. So if you start a habit in your home of, reading a newspaper, and then you see there's something there that catches your attention, then I think that would engage the youth to start reading again the print news, the newspaper. The problem now is that even parents don't buy the newspaper anymore. They just get their tablets and then they start scanning online. But I used to be asked, someone used to ask me that would print remain relevant now. I think print will never disappear. Because if you go to Carbon, unsa may iputo sa inyong buwad, inyong tablet. Unsa may iputo sa buwak, di ba, newspaper man. So it will be relevant gihapon, joke.
No, I think it's true. Dili mawala ang newspaper. Remember, pagsud sa radio, mamatay na gyud, gipredict na that the print will die because mas ang reach sa radio. When TV niabot, much more because it's so visual. You can see people talking. Print will die for sure, but print continue to grow. Samot pag-abot sa laptop, sa computers, and your mobile phones. Print is still there, not as, as high circulation before, but it is still there. Breathing, still breathing.
Yeah, so now we have this question from mga questions from the online. So I think this would be the last questions. I already have 2 more questions for both of you, but our audience have questions. So there is a question. There is a question from again from thank you very much to Wendell Castro, also from UP, a graduate of UP Cebu, and now with a businessman, and also from an organization. Limuel is asking, how can a traditional media company owned by politicians remain unbiased? So think about your answer before, as I would read other comments. Ferdy is asking when to draw a line in journalism. But before that, before you answer that question, I remember Connie telling me that there is, did you know sa mga students there in Jorn, do you have a class in journalism? Do you know what is the structure of a straight news story? Do you know what is the structure? Unsa man? Inverted pyramid. So, Connie is saying there is now a new structure. Sige, kunukon, be. Tell me again, pag himog journalism kanang workshop, diri karon.
Then you would need more or
Sige, short lang, briefly. How to get the attention? What structure would get the attention? Is it like the feature story now, or what is the new style of the structure for a story to catch the attention of the readers?
usually straight new inverted triangle, inverted pyramid does not hold is not as relevant as if you want to write news features. And right now, if you notice, the treatment of the stories are not too straightforward. Because I have a question for the audience. Why do you think TV, every time that ABS-CBN or GMA, they would start their news with a simple Juan de la Cruz? Why do you think? Like, for example, may isang the story is about fuel increase, right? Fuel price increase. The story, the reporter does not start with, the prices of fuel will increase by 1 peso and 50 centavos the next day. It does not start like that. They usually do interviews with jeepney drivers, ordinary merchants, students who would be affected. Why do you think that they do that instead of going directly with the news that there's going to be price increases? Anyone?
So, open forum na ni.
The reason why they do that, it's because they want to add human face to the story. It is about to be able to relate to the story. So if you're just going to do straight news, inverted pyramid, it is so it's not. The story will not become personal, something that will not touch you. Because at the end of the day, you read the stories because it affects you. It matters to you. Why do you think the flood control project story is going haywire? Why is it so controversial right now? Why is it going viral? It's not because of anything else, but because everyone is affected. Everyone gets affected by the story. Everybody gets affected by the corruption. That's how you treat the story. You always have to ask, how would that affect the ordinary readers if you were to write the story? So that's where your angle is.
Yes, so Connie, would you like to do the honor of answering this question, the very important and controversial question about how does a traditional media company owned by politicians remain unbiased?
That's the reason why you put up the right people as your editor-in-chief, as your associate. These are the people who would draw the line. These are look, in a newspaper, the owners don't run the day-to-day operation. They don't sit down with you and tell you, "Oy, this is your page 1. This is no." It is us, the editors and the reporters. Do you honestly think that if there's a lot of interventions from the owners, politician, don't you think that the reporters would not complain, and even the editors? And you would not be able to run your publication well, and there would be a lot of problems.
Yes.
And
Yes, thank you, Connie. Now we have the answer from Mildred about how does a paper owned by are there papers in Cebu owned by politicians?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Freeman is now used to be owned purely by the Guliases. Now it's with Philippine Star also. The Sansar is owned by the Garcias. This, I think, we're turning 44 years old, ang Sunstar. I think we will not survive 44 years old if we allowed control sa newsroom. There is always, even if the owners are political families, but there's always an autonomy for the newsroom to run the day-to-day. It's not just the political thing. Can you imagine? Let's say I own a mall, then I have a newspaper. I have to protect the mall by using the paper. It doesn't work that way. I don't think media people will work in that kind of setup. But it's really very challenging, especially elections. Like for Sunstar, whatever we do, I tell you, we will always be accused of being biased. Bisag niabot na sa punto nga mag-ihap nami, I mean, during the last national elections, nagrally ang usa, so nagpagawas kag 10 photos. Make sure inigrally sa usa mo pagawas kag 10 photos. Kay i-brand man din ka, you're red, you're yellow. You know, walay color ang media. So it's a very tiring job.
So, Connie, the answer of Limuel to your question regarding why did they show Juan de la Cruz, the answer is to connect to the target audience. Yeah. And so now I have the next question for, this is for Mildred. So what role do you see in the future for the regional newsrooms like Sunstar? What does it play in communities, in engaging the communities and holding the leaders accountable in the digital age?
Okay. The local newsrooms are the watchdog closest to the ground. So national issues often start with local decisions, but our reporters live in the same neighborhoods as our readers. In a time of misinformation and strong regional newsroom like Sunstar connects people to trusted information. Example lang, every time it rains, may flood, di ba? Every time mag-flood, most of our residents, they don't go to City Hall to complain. They go to media, asking media to help for government to take action. Because it's the media who amplifies their voice. It's our job to amplify the voice of the voiceless. So, voiceless. So, among dito. No, joke. Nili, ang katong mga tao nga, kanang ordinaryo nga mga citizens nga, wala, dili kabaluon saon nila pagpadayag ilang mga problema. For, muna, it's the media. It's the local media. Grounded man ka, you're the one closest and nearest to the readers. So mas labaw gikinahanglan ang local media so that the voice of the community can easily be amplified. Kay if example nagbaha sa Tisa, I cannot go to Inquirer to ask Inquirer, Connie, we need help. So it's always the local press. The national press always carries policies. They're the ones who write about impacts of policies, but the local press, the ones in the community, they're the ones who reports kanang busted bulbs sa inyong street lights. You know, when streets are dark, so we are very prone to criminal activities. So, og sa structure pa sa government, ang local media, they are the barangays. The clearest and
estate.
Yes.
So dahil salamat, Mildred. So to Connie, what advice would you give to the young journalists present today and online who are starting their careers in this era driven by clicks, trends, and algorithms?
Just don't get discouraged ba? Because sometimes, Manggod, when you post some stories online, it can get bashed, and then there's a lot of hate comments. So just push that away because it goes with the territory. And do not also be overwhelmed or be swayed by, uy, sikat ka because, you know, you're a reporter. And never think that you're anyone special just because you're a journalist. You are just a journalist. Does that make you a star? Yes. You don't have privileges in movie houses, in restaurants. No, whatever is the right of an ordinary individuals, that is also your right. So if you're a journalist, it is just a job. It does not make you a rock star. So don't put that in your head na, journalist ko, I should get into this premiere night. No. If there's a line between kanang you shouldn't cross kay kanang ordinary kan individual, dili ka di ka cross ana. Your ID does not give you the power to be someone else that you are not. It does not give you access to special privileges. It does not. It will just identify you that is your job and you have a job to do. So never get that into your head because that's where problems begin. I remember there was the book that I really, really like reading is The Paper. It made into a movie. In that, there was one portion there, Picasso was having dinner with one reporter. And he was so happy to be dining with Picasso. You know who Picasso is, Pablo Picasso? And the moral there of the story is that the world of the news sources, the world of the glamour, it's not your world. Sometimes you cross, you get into that world, you cover it, you get to see it, but you are not a part of it. You are just there to cover.
Salamat, Connie. Now, my last question for the both of them, and now we go to, after that, we will have the reactions and the questions from the audience, the on-site audience, and we will also continue reading the online comments. So the last question for both of them, we start with ikaw na lang, Mildred first. So we would like to know if the online platforms, and we have Mildred first, if the online platforms, the social media, did it change the way people join social movements or civic conversations? In your observation as you report the news or engage with the people, did that online platforms change the way people join social movements? Did the online platforms made them more empowered, or what is it?
This is for social movements and civic. Yeah, I think by my observation, with social media, it is faster now. Compared before, if you want to, you want to go out and protest fuel price increase or the problems in Gaza, you have to gather everybody, like physical. But now they're just a message away. You create an event on Facebook, who are coming, who are going or not. So it's now easier to gather people and to come up with activities. Compared to before na physical gyud kay tanan, you have to, ug di madatawag, you really have to go to their offices. So I think it empowers people more to gather, to fight for certain issues, but at the same time, it's also challenging. So it's both. So
If you don't know how to use social media.
because social media has lowered barriers for people to speak up. Now you can just, if you don't like to be identified, you can just create accounts and rant all you want. But because of that anonymity on social media, so it's actually both a good and a bad thing. It's how you use it. Social media is just a tool.
Thank you, Mildred. So we have Connie. We have 35 minutes more, 40 minutes more for in this event. So, sige, Connie.
I agree with Mildred. It makes it faster, but because it's fast, you have to be very responsible also with what you post. It's fast that it can gather people faster than when it was a few years back. But at the same time, you have to be responsible also with what you post. And make sure that it's factual and it's accurate.
So my question for you, we are celebrating this week, the Cebu Press Freedom Week. So of course, it is timed with the declaration, with the anniversary also of the declaration of the martial law. September, when was the martial law declared to the young people here? Oh, congratulations to your teachers and for reading about it, that you know about the declaration of the martial law. So would you say that the press is the Philippine press or the Cebu press? Is the Cebu press free? Connie. And then Mildred. Pwede i-show na nato si Mildred.
Well, my question is, if it's not free, aren't you free to post whatever you want to post? Aren't you free to comment whatever you want to comment? Aren't we free to write whatever you want to write? It will not be free if someone will stop you from writing what you want to write or commenting from what you want to comment. As long as this, during the time of martial law, we were not allowed to write whatever we want to write. You are not allowed to criticize the government. There was also one time when everybody was so scared to say anything against the government. If that happens, then we can say that media is not free. But as long as now we can do as many comments as you want, then yes, the media is free.
So thank you, Connie. We have Mildred.
Yes, and to protect that freedom, it's not just our job, but including you. So we need to protect this hard-earned freedom. People died to make sure we enjoy the freedom now. So we have to remain vigilant to whatever manipulations will be coming our way.
Thank you to Mildred. So now, the floor now is open for the reaction from our on-site audience. So we have students from the San Carlos School of Cebu. So from what, a senior high, right? Or are you from the publication, Warrior Scribe? So these are warrior writers. They also believe that the pen is as mighty as the sword. It's mightier than the sword. Is it mightier than the sword?
Yes.
Yes, it is mightier than the sword because Katipunan grew 9,000% after the Kalayaan was published and circulated. So do we have any reaction from our students from the Warrior Scribe and also from, is it from Hulma? Are you from, is anyone from Hulma here? Wala? Yes, si Kuan. So you have reactions and also questions for our resource persons? Yes? Kinsay ganahan. We go to UP, to San Carlos. Yes, please go to the microphone, introduce yourself, and please tell us to whom do you address your, if it is a question, please tell us to whom do you address your question. Yes. And 1 minute only. 1 minute.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Irish from Warrior Scribe, the official school publication of San Carlos School of Cebu. And this is my question. Do you think social media truly encourages critical thinking among the youth, especially now that many students tend to shape their views based on what their peers believe rather than seeking out facts?
Take two ko no sa to?
Take two.
Take two.
Do you think social media truly encourages critical thinking among the youth, especially now that many students tend to shape their views based on what their peers believe rather than seeking out facts?
So thank you. What's your name?
Irish.
Iris. Thank you, Iris, for the question. So Iris is asking if the social media encourages critical thinking while the peers usually are dependent on social media for their opinions on things. So who would like to answer first?
Sige, ang
Yes,
answer.
we have Mildred.
Well, again, no, social media, it encourages critical thinking, provided you go to the right pages that to provide you with the right information. But if you are just dependent with what your peers shared without verification if the source is legit or not, then you will just be part of the misinformation and disinformation cycle. So it creates critical thinking, provided we also find ways to seek the truth behind the information we are consuming. So let's not be auto-sharers or auto-likers or commenting without reading the facts. So to be critical thinkers, you always ask, is this true? Is this correct? Before even commenting or giving a thumbs up for that matter.
Thank you, Mildred. So, Connie.
You know, my son likes to watch YouTube all the time, YouTube Reels, and then sometimes there's certain information in YouTube Reels that he thinks that it's right, it's correct, and he's 11 years old, by the way. And I always tell him that you don't believe everything what you see online. You have to use your mind, you have to use your brain to think that, is this correct? Do I need to verify this? Am I supposed to believe it? So, as a journalist and if you as a writer, as an individual, you always have to ask yourself, sakto ba ni nga information? Tinuod ba ni? Rather than believing it, then you start doing that critical thinking already.
Nahan salamat, Connie.
Thank you
Nahan
po.
salamat, Iris. So, do we have other questions from the audience? Do we have questions from what school? From? Yes.
Hello po. My name is JC from...
Closer.
Ay. Hello po. My name is JC from UP Cebu BA Communication first year. My question po is this question has been raised in one of our subjects in our course. Should journalists remain neutral in reporting po?
So, thank you, JC, for your question. So, this question is addressed to both, right? Yes, so may we have Connie first. Should the journalists remain neutral?
Journalists should be biased towards the truth. And when you say that, you have to, all things, and if your teacher is going to ask you, neutrality means, you just be listening to both sides. But as journalists, since your bias is the truth, you are now going to chase after what is the truth. So that is your bias.
Thank you to Connie. Very well said. So we have Mildred here.
Yes, I think I agree with Connie. Being neutral, when you say it's neutral, it's like, for me, it's like a copy and paste. He said, she said. So if you want to be neutral, that will just be the presentation of your news. But balance, you can be balanced, but biased to the truth. Truth-seeking man gyud ang journalism. So, ato kita dito, what na siya color?
Thank you, Mildred. Do you have a follow-up question, JC?
Thank you so much po.
Thank you to JC. So, my question, while we are waiting for the question of the next, the one who would like to react, sige. So, I have also a pending question. When would you say, do you, please cite an event or an incident or what happened in history where you say that media had a very large impact to create change in society. So before you answer that, we go to the one from UP also. Yes, please go to the microphone, introduce yourself, and also, no, it's not for you. You give your question. If you would want to see, yes, please. My question is for the panelists.
Good afternoon. I'm Ella Canas from BA Communication from the University of the Philippines, Cebu. My question is, with the rise of AI, as journalists, do you think it's worrying about the prospect of AI taking over the field of journalism?
Ella, yes. Thank you, Ella.
Okay.
First, Mildred.
I think you should join us on Saturday for the Sunstars event on reaching out to young journalists. The topic will be AI as a journalist tool, not the journalist. So it's a tool that we can use, but if your fear is if we will be replaced by AI, we will be replaced by people who knows how to use the tool. So I don't think AI can go to carbon market and ask the vendors of their story about things. So
Yes, AI can. You need to feed information to AI for it to work because it would be writing fantastic and fiction, fantastic stories. So it's an invitation for the Campus Journalism Summit on September 27 from 8 a.m. to ako na yung
from
nag-plug.
8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yes, they need to register or is it full? Are they still
The register
accepting?
is already, but you know, you can just, the atrium is a big venue, but you can go there. I'm not sure if we still have chairs available, but that on Saturday, it will also be our first time to run our contest. It's called On the Record. It's a newscasting contest with a twist. So you see how it will unfold.
Thank you, Mildred. Thank you, Ella. Your answer. Oh, okay na to. So next, we still have like 20 minutes for the open forum. If you still have questions and reactions, is it Renzo? Renzo, sige, you go to the microphone. Renzo is from Hulma, the literary organization of San Carlos School of Cebu. And San Carlos School of Cebu has been partnering with Pamgrass, especially also for our outreach, like the Rebranding Junquera Street program. And they are partnering with us for a workshop on poetry and also poetry workshop and contest. So do we have another reaction from, so there is a, Ferdy is saying kudos to the discussants and big congratulations to Pamgrass. And our teachers are joining today's important online talk as government work and classes are suspended in NCR. Nagbagyo na sad? Nagbagyo karon? So, do you have other questions? So my question, so I have a pending question. Pwede na ito ma-fix, Michael. So my pending question, what was a part, I mean a fact or an incident or an event in history where we would say that the press was very powerful in creating change in society? So, kinsa mo una og answer?
Actually, there's a lot.
Yes.
EDSA People Power was a product of media through Radio Veritas. EDSA 2 is the same thing when the media exposed corruption of
Yes.
Erap Estrada.
Yes.
The PDAF scam, for example, of
Napoles.
Napoles was another example of investigative reports that brought down several senators only to be freed by the next administration.
And to be in the same hall, questioning the others who are accused of the same corruption. It's funny.
So, Mildred?
Yeah, I think milestones to Philippine democracy, media has a great part on those events. Local, I think what I can remember sa local is when we reported about the abuse of Nubin that resulted in the passage of an ordinance.
There's another one, the
Yes.
lamppost.
Yeah, the lamppost.
The lamppost,
Where
when we
Post.
exposed the overpriced
President
lamppost
Post.
during the ASEAN Summit,
Senate.
it caused the re-election bid of a mayor.
Mayor.
And I think the arrest charges were filed
Filed,
against
yeah.
DPWH
DH.
officials at the time, only to
Be
be
released again and reassigned to
Only to be
another region. The sad thing about
Yes, so thank you. I think there are also stories about the environment, right? That were also written, investigative reports. Yes.
Bohol, for example, the even before that resort, we reported. Remember when they defaced? I don't know there's so many mountains. Why do they have to excavate and the hills and make it sand and gravel? I
Yes.
don't know.
So do we still have questions from the audience? Yes, so we have thank you to Darlene from sa Taguig City Napindan Integrated School for joining us, Minerva from SDO Tapat. And so while we are waiting for your, do you still have question? Yes, please go to the microphone. Introduce yourself. From which school?
Hello po, good afternoon. So my name is Uriel. I'm from UP Cebu, and I'm a freshman from University of Philippines Cebu. So I have a question related po sa social media. So I know that right now it's really easy to manipulate information in social media. So what would be the best way for journalists like you to combat against those types of information or disinformation and such in social media that can be
So
easily
your
manipulated?
name is?
My name is Oriel po.
Real?
Oriel, yeah.
Ariel?
Oriel po. You
Oriel.
are, yes.
Oriel.
Yes po.
So Oriel is asking how it's very easy to manipulate
Yeah. Manipulate information or data.
information.
Yes.
So yes. How to combat disinformation?
Yes po.
By putting out the truth. That's it. The only way to combat misinformation is to put out the right information. That's why there's some news website that comes out with their own fact-checking and put it online that, you know, this is what is posted and that's the misinformation and this is the right one. That's the only way. But with a lot of misinformation going around, we can only do so much. That's when the public comes in. And when the netizens call out misinformation, that makes it faster.
Okay po, thank you.
Thank you. So do you have anything to add? Covered na. So I would like to ask regarding, so of course we talked about the journalists being threatened. So there are still incidents of journalists being killed. So what is the situation now, or how do the journalists, so of course Connie mentioned about not putting the names of journalists, of the writer or the one who wrote the story to protect the journalist, but is it rampant today? Maybe the students here have the data of the how many journalists are being killed. Killing journalists is also like curtailing the freedom of the press. It's one form of it's trampling on the press freedom. So how do you, what is the situation now? But does it happen in Cebu, or I heard it's the broadcast, right? Ang naigipatay.
Actually, the killings never stop. In fact, what has increased is the number of journalists who are in jail. Like the one in Tacloban. You know, charges can be trumped up. So, and I think what's missing in the Philippines is a strong media organization, one media strong organization from national to local who can really, stand behind a journalist. Because the ones who, most of the time, the ones who got killed or na-detained are correspondents who don't have an employee-employer relationship with big networks or media companies, who have less protection, actually less income. So they're the ones who are the easy targets because it's like this. In the communities where there is no newspapers, it's the correspondents who reports stories to the national, who brings an issue from the local to the national. And because they don't have a company, they don't have an organization that, protects them, they can be very easy target. And that's it. For 2,000 pesos, you can already kill somebody.
2,000 na lang?
Yes. Can even be cheaper. Yes. So that's, I think there really is a need for, daghan mo good media organizations. There's PPI, there's NUJP. I know they're sharing the same, that's for protection of journalists, but if we are too many, it's best nga natay usangan strong nin dako og tingog. So I'm not sure if ano. But I don't what sa ko'y nakita nga kanang forecast nga muundang na ang killing sa journalists. As long as we continue reporting the truth, we keep uncovering irregularities, the threat is always there.
Connie.
To add on that, in Cebu, I don't see a lot of threats on journalists because the threats comes in another form. Like, pakawawan ang journalists in a press con because they don't like the stories that they put out. So one form of harassment done by news sources is the next day when they did not like how the story was, the treatment of the story, they would put the reporter on a spotlight and berate them in front of everyone, or even sometimes on Facebook Live. That is one form of intimidation. Or sometimes you get a threat of pull out in advertisements because they don't like the way how the story was handled. But I think what hurts, what intimidates a lot of especially newbie reporters is when they get berated online by news sources because they don't like the way the story was handled. Usually veterans like Mildred, they get used to it, but it discourages new reporters when they are made to stand in a press con and a local officials would do like this to you in front of everyone, or get your photo and analyze the contours of your face that, you know, this ugly person there has the nerve to criticize me, chata, chata, chata. That's more intimidating for newbies.
Yeah, I think ang chilling effect, Ana, is the journalists now di na mangutana sa hard questions.
Because they get lambasted.
Yes, because they fear of being embarrassed in public or among colleagues. And also, dili na magpa-interview, dili na tagaan og chance sa ma-interview. So, I think naamsad mi ni Connie ana sa una nga kanang kasab-an ka, but I
Not
think
to that extent.
yeah, dili lang ka i-embarrass like that. Pero kanang kinahanglan gyud ka mo barog if you reported is truth. Bahalag mo hila ka diha nga naglagot ka, but barog gyud imong storya kay why laing mo barog sa imong storya, ikaw ra gyud. So if by the time nga ikaw mismo nag-doubt na ka imong story, that's the end.
But this is where also a strong organization comes
Yes,
in.
it's true.
To protect these reporters from being subject to harassment and ridicule by local officials.
But there are already, there are so many press organizations like KBP, Philippine Press Institute, Cebu Press Freedom Week
I know,
Incorporated.
but I can't remember any single of these organization have ninigawas ni storya against aning mga local officials who berate reporters. Ngayon, ana. I mean, there are other ways. If you don't
National
agree,
Union of Journalists of the Philippines.
I didn't, wakoy nadunggan so far. If you don't agree with unsay giswat sa reporter, you can always go to the editor and make the necessary complaint. But ayaw i-embarrass ang reporter in public, like, hello?
Kasun.
Yes. Aside na imong embarrass, kana pag yung imong well,
So, also one recent, last na lang we have 15 minutes more. So if you have more questions, I have a trivia quiz with the exciting prize. And also you should have listened to the discussion. And then also we would have the closing words later after the open forum. After everything, the two brilliant and veteran journalists would give us their closing words for this celebration, for this event today. So one of the recent updates, one of the updates of regarding lambasting the media is regarding this, like when the flood control came out, flood control issue came out, and there were accusations of media people being paid by being paid to to do the interview. And then I think there was a statement that came out in one of the organizations of journalists about saying something about you cannot judge right away, something like about the situation also of the situation of the journalists today. So do you have anything to say about that?
Well, it was, the journalists involved already made the reaction. But I think every news organization have their own code of conduct and standards. For Sunstar, we have that. Accepting this and that is punishable. So that I'm not sure with the organization they're in, if there was an investigation to the allegations. But for me, that is worth an investigation because that was out in the open, and whether it's true or not, it's something that has to be investigated to also debunk if it's not true, and at the same time protect the integrity of the journalist. It's very easy, it's very easy. Oh, I have you receive it. I have your credentials. For all you know, that's not my GCash number. It's somebody else's GCash number using my name. It's so easy to use anybody's name, especially those who are in the staff box. Oh, very easy.
So, but then there are already right now, there are some paid advertisements, like you run a story, but
Sponsored
you
content.
indicate that it's sponsored.
Content.
It's sponsored content.
Yes.
So you need to be transparent.
Yes, and at the same time, it's not our reporters who are writing that. There's a separate group of writers who's writing sponsored content, not the reporters. They'll be confused if you're going to allow them. Yes, and writing is different also.
So, Connie, regarding the situation of...
If you're talking about Julius Babao and Corina Sanchez, that's the difference between content creators and staff members of a media organization. Because in the case of staff members of media organization, we are bound by the rules of our organization. We can get fired, we can get suspended if us by our own organization. But in the case of, if you notice the interview with Diskaya, with Julius Babao and Corina Sanchez, these were done by their own blogs. It's not connected with, where is she connected now, Corina? It's not connected with Billionario.com, or was it connected with that newscast that Julius Babao is on TV5? So it's not connected. It is his own personal video content. So he is not answerable to anybody but himself. Or likewise with Corina. So that's the difference there.
Mo lang sad na siya ang na-change karon no kay kanang maglibog sad ang tao. Are you doing this as a content creator, or you're doing this as a newscaster of this organization, or as a reporter of this organization? These platforms have really blurred the lines. So,
but one thing I find it funny because these interviews were done during the 2022 campaign. Again, di ba? It was,
yes.
And it was only now that it resurfaced. So if we did not have the flood control, if we don't have the issues on flood,
it was not an issue.
And then if BBM did not say in his sona nga, oy, mahiya naman kayo, laki-laki ng budget nyo, ito yung ginagawa nyo, then it wouldn't have been an issue. It was just reposted.
Okay. So thank you, Connie. And so those are some. So of course, according to Mildred, there needs to be a very strong media organization to protect also the reporters, the journalists. So right now, there needs to be that the organizations need to be strengthened. And then of course there should be support from the people, from the public, for the media for them to not be scared in speaking and in writing about the truth. So wala na no. So thank you to Chris Everett for watching, a former writer of writer of Connie and Inquirer or in the Cebu Daily News. So we have this exciting trivia question for you. So the first question is for the on-site audience, and the second question is for everyone, but you answered through the comment section of the Facebook Live event. So the first question is, the prize for this is our cocktail of the month. I don't know if you're already allowed to drink cocktail, but our cocktail of the month is made of iba with lemon and also with vodka ni siya. And yes, it has tequila. It has tequila, iba, and lemon. And then the name of the drink is Atikra. So Atikra, was everything just a trick? Or Atikra ba ang tanan? Pero of course, this is a drink nga walay ati kay lami ni siya. Ba Atikra per lami gyapon. Lami dayag atikon ka. So the question is this. Ala, kalisod, mas lisod lagi akong question number 1 kaysa question number 2. Okay ra? Sige na lang. So kini, question number 1. You raise your hand and then you go to the microphone, introduce yourself and give your answer. So, how many copies did the Kalayaan, sayop akong nasulat sa, how many copies did the Katipunan paper Kalayaan had? Access the notes, you do. Sige, you go to the microphone ko, no? Dire a microphone. Introduce yourself. Get ready to the katong una ni race. Maoy mo. And then the first to race. Give your name. Well, nag-on.
My name is Chad Diskaya.
From Diskaya? From
UP Cebu po.
Yes. What's your answer?
Can you please repeat?
How many copies were the Katipunan, the Kalayaan had in its circulation first?
Based from my notes, sure. Ano siya kahit 2,000 copies po.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
you win the Atikra. So it really pays to take down notes.
Yeah.
So mo na siya, a journalist should take down notes niya dili magsalig sa recorder. Kay what if maguba ang recorder, di ba? Pero kinahanglan sad ka og recorder. Kay what if mawagtang imong notes? So congratulations to. Usa to yung name nimo?
Chad Aquesta po.
Chad.
Chad.
So I announce na to the winner for the Atikra. The next question is a very easy question. So do you already have a Wi-Fi? Because you would answer through the comment section of this Facebook Live event. And there is a question for you that you need to answer before I would give the question. Or after they give the answer. The question is, give one joy and travails of being a journalist. So what are the joys and the sorrows of being a journalist? So muna-unasan na ninyo. So the next question is this. The next question, and everyone will answer through the comment section of this Facebook Live event. And the prize is from our Alima Native Massage, our healing heritage with a therapeutic kawa bath, an Instagrammable kawa bath, where you will win either a flower, a buwak kawa bath, or a tinola kawa bath. You need to put you on your swimwear for you to have the Instagrammable kawa bath. It has fire under, but then it's actually regulated, that the temperature is regulated for you not to get burned. So the question is this. We are celebrating this week the blank year of the Cebu Press Freedom Week. So ikapila na nga years sa celebration of the Cebu Press Freedom Week. So you will while you answer to the comment section, and while you are answering, we would like to get the answers also from our panelists regarding the joys and the sorrows of being a journalist. Pwede quiet sa taha? Sige, Mildred.
The joy, no? So, unahon lang itong joy para dili sad. Okay, I think the joy is...
Please, quiet please.
Okay, I think the joy of a journalist is when you're writing something that improves the life of the people. Example, when we first have our live streaming sa Sinulog, we just used kanang family camcorder bitaw. And then, what good? I mean, very, very crude, but you know, the feedback, the beauty of live streaming is because people can give their comments right away. I mean, if the comments were very overwhelming, saying there were a lot. It was actually the Filipinos abroad who said that, thank you. It's been 10 years since nakakita ko o naka-appeal ko og Sinulog. Hearing the beat really brings back memories of Cebu. So I think kana siya. And then when, for example, for Sansar, we have a program called Beyond the Headlines. We receive a lot of information about irregularities and everything. There was this student from CTU who is asking help. Can you help me? I need to join. I want to participate in the graduation, but I need 6,000 pesos for the yearbook and for the payment for ASA to i-hold. I think it's in Waterfront. So we invited her to the studio and do the interview. She was able to raise, I think, 16,000 pesos. And you know what she did? She shared it with another classmate who also cannot join. But aside from gathering money for that student, there were questions. Nga these are scholars, government scholars, nga nung adto man taon tas Waterfront mag-hold og graduation when it's very expensive. Needed ba gyud karon mag-yearbook ta for us to graduate? So those questions ni gawas. So ang nahitabo, wala na sila na-graduation sa Waterfront. I think dito na sila na-graduation sa campus, which gamay ra man gyud compared to their volume. Pero kana siya bitaw kanang sa imong own little way of writing, naka-affect ka, naka-impact ka nga na ay ilang tingog na pagawas o ilang problema na resolve. That is something I think only a journalist can makabuhat ana ba. Ang sad thing is when you're writing something, imo nang giput out, but ang mga tao nga hintungdan continue to be in power.
So daghang salamat to Mildred. So Mildred is saying that when you create change because of what you write, when the audience, you give joy to the audience and you create change in the life of your readers and your audience, it gives joy to the journalists. And yes, if ang sad is when you write something, you put up a story, but then there is still change. There is still no change that happens. So now, Connie, what are the joys and the sorrows of a journalist?
Well, the joy is always to be able to make a difference to the lives of the people you write about. One of those examples is when I did an expose on medicines being supplied by the Southern Office of the Southern Cultural Communities of the South, which were either adulterated, expired, or not needed. And there was a Senate inquiry under Senator Frabier at the time, and eventually the office was scrapped because it was filled with corruption. The sad part is when sometimes you get too involved with the story and it breaks your heart. One of those stories is during COVID when you see people lining out there in the hospitals dying and there's nothing you can do about it. Or when you write a story about a massacre that wiped out the entire family members and all you can do was write about it and you cannot do anything about it. And it sometimes affects you emotionally and even psychologically. And there are times that we have to step back because if you become a witness to these events, it can affect you. So you have to maintain your mental health and your well-being. Another stress of becoming a journalist is you still people running the government. And let me rephrase that. I was asked once, do you think something not good will be the outcome of these flood control projects? And my answer, probably now. But eventually, those based on 30 years of experience, normally I didn't see any high-ranking officials being thrown to jail and found guilty for corruption. Usually they get charged. They sometimes put neck braces, wheeled into wheelchair, stayed in the hospital, and then they would eventually be cleared after several years. Issues on ghost projects, this is nothing new. This happened in 1990s, 2000, and it is just something that's different. Same dog.
Yeah.
Different dog, same color. Is it the one?
Yes.
Sakto ba? Yeah. Same dog, different colors. Sakit ba? Because, sometimes you ask yourself, what am I doing here? These same kinds of individuals still running this government, and nothing much has changed after the controversy explodes.
Yeah, so there are still so many things to talk about. There are still so many things to do. So but we run out of time. So we invite you once again. They will give their closing statement. So according to Ferdy, as a reaction to Connie, historical amnesia. But the winner of our trivia question for question number 2 is the first to give the correct answer is Renzo Flordelis. Congratulations, you win an Instagrammable kawa bat. So, thank you also to those who gave their answers. So, we invite you to October 4 film showing on LGBTQ films, Cebuano films by Sam Cosanilla, October 4. October 11, Bansay Balak, Cebu Island Poetry Workshop and Contest in partnership with the DepEd Region 7 and also with the Hulma, San Carlos School of Cebu. So, maragida ni sila appeal sa contest, kaya appeal man sila sa workshop. So, and then we have October 18, Hilo og Tambal, the Hailing Heritage of the Visayas. October 30, Dili Ingonato, discussion with historian Dr. Rolando Burinaga, and also the Visayan Mythical Creatures cosplay contest. So now we get the closing statement of our panelists this afternoon as we celebrate the 33rd Cebu Press Freedom Week. We have first Mildred.
Okay, to all the students here and those who are watching, please continue. Don't be discouraged of unsa to kong gipangsulti ganina, but I know there is hope. We've been in journalism for so many years. We've seen things, how it developed, but just be persistent. I think maybe not in my lifetime, but I know it will be in yours. So keep on hoping and go on. Thank you.
Thank you to Mildred and Connie.
Just persevere. Sometimes our heart aches, like any heartaches. Heartaches heal. Like I know many of you have already experienced your own heartaches, but does not mean that you give up, right? Otherwise, if you give up, what would happen to our country?
So thank you very much. Very well said to our brilliant veteran journalists. You are so lucky to be able to hear their thoughts, and we are so lucky to be able to listen to their insights. So as we celebrate the 33rd Cebu Press Freedom Week, we don't lose hope. We believe that it is joyful to. There is a saying actually from an activist in the 1970s who said that the next best thing to being free is the struggle to be free. the next best thing to being free. Our ancestors, the Katipuneros of our ancestors struggled for 333 years, but they were freed. And then so our ancestors also fought against the Americans, fought against the Japanese, and now we are fighting against corruption, poverty, and we don't lose hope because we still have this honorable and fearless journalist with us. And you, future journalists, will be with the people in the fight for genuine change of society. Daghang salamat ug malipayong pagsaulog sa katloan ug tulo ka tuig nga kasumaran sa pagsaulog sa kagawasan sa prensa. Pamahayag. Maayong hapon.